Yes, everybody, good morning. Welcome back to Forever United TV. We have a ton of news for you on this morning update this Friday, the 22nd of August. No fewer than 8 players in conversation in our show this morning. 5 on the out list and 3 on the in. Yes, 3. We're going to talk about that. There is reports and stories everywhere this morning. Finally, a little bit of something interesting to get our teeth into regarding incomings and the hope that Manchester United do bring an extra player. I know there's a lot of United fans out there that want that to happen, so we're going to get into that, as well as the obvious outgoings and a surprise look on the future of one young Manchester United player as well. We talked on it a little bit yesterday, but a bit more detail today as well. What the hell is going on with Andre Onana? Contrasting reports there. That's going to be a big story this morning as well. And of course, get your live chats in, please, right now, everybody. Make sure that you are in part of the show. Get your opinions in there and obviously have your conversations as well. Don't forget, Blockbuster weekend this weekend here on Forever United TV and Talk and Football Talks. We're going to be on the live watch along tonight for Chelsea. We've got Fulham coming up as well, and we're probably going to be covering that Monday night game also this week. So absolutely jam-packed full of action this weekend. I'm glad football's back, honestly. I'm going to need it after this week of transfer talk anyway. Let's get into that now. And Manchester United's hunt for a new midfielder. Now, you may have seen some reports floating around regarding ANGELO Stott. Now, I've talked about this player before on the show as a potential Manchester United target. That's a definite. And that's going off this report as well. 6 foot, 4 goals, 11 assists last season. Now full German international as well. Very young and very sort of, what's the right word to look like? One of them players that goes under the radar. And nobody really pays too much attention to until Man United come in and start talking about you in a transfer window. So what we're looking at here, I feel, is Manchester United recruitment side of things really kicking into gear again. And the story which is doing the rounds this morning is one from TalkSport, I think, has been talked about as Manchester United have not actually gone too far into the actual contract talks or transfer talks for Stott just yet. But this is a report from Inde, who has gone into a little bit more detail on this and what might potentially be there for Manchester United to do in the last week of the window. So this is his report. As reported already by TalkSport that Manchester United are interested in ANGELO Stott, but we have confirmed further exclusive details. According to a reliable source, his agent, Volker Struff from Sport 360, had a meeting with Manchester United officials in London just yesterday. So that being Tuesday. It would have been. So Wednesday, sorry, not Tuesday. Now here's the details. Stott has a release clause of 36.5 million euros that kicks in 2026. But Stuttgart have a sneaky option to buy that clause out for just 2 million euros at any time. The player is 100% on the shortlist. Right now, talks are still at early stages, but it's definitely a situation to keep an eye on. Now, the interesting bits from that, obviously, are the fact that the release clause of 36.5 million euros, now we're talking in there around about the £30 million mark, obviously, that doesn't kick in until 2026. So will Stuttgart move earlier than that? But then being able to buy that release clause out at the price stated there, 2 million euros, that I think is probably the interesting bit in this one, because it means that they can change this whenever they want. So do United go in now before they try and change that and trigger that? Do they show interest in Stott and try and get him over the line? Because obviously, if they do buy it out, they can just make that release clause even more. And obviously, if they know that Manchester United are interested, they're going to do it. That release clause kicking in January for 2026, I think is a big thing there, because obviously that's a player going cheap and he is starting to play well and make waves over in the Bundesliga. Look, a lot of people will look at this signing and say that's underwhelming. It's not really the Carlos Baleba situation. He's not as good as Carlos Baleba. No one is going to be better than Carlos Baleba right now in this transfer market. This one that we're in right now. No one's going to come anywhere near what level he is and what Manchester United are looking for, because he's proven and is the youngest out of anybody we're looking at right now. It's a future-proof signing for Manchester United, and that's why he's going to come at a premium. But like we said, and like we're going to be talking about, Manchester United are going to have a lot of room in that midfield area come next summer. So we do need more than one midfielder. So this isn't an alternative as of the future of this football club for Carlos Baleba. This, or any signing made at this point, would be another midfield signing for what we do need and are going to need, even if we buy Baleba in the summer. So I don't think that this is just Baleba off the table. There's some people reporting that Carlos Baleba won't happen if Manchester United sign a Gourmet from Seville, for instance. It's not the case. Manchester United do need to improve a lot in midfield. They do need to invest an awful lot in that area of the pitch. It's where we are light, and the futures of nearly every single midfielder at this football club right now is up in the air come the summertime. So again, we do need more than one. Still, obviously, like I just said, his stats there, nobody's going to really look at this player. He's not one of them that jumps off the page. He's not a player that you're going to be putting posters up on your bedroom wall with as a child or anything like that. He's just one of them workers. I've already seen people in the comment section saying he's a bit lightweight. He's a great passer and reader of the game. Is he physical enough for the Premier League? Well, I don't think Michael Carrick was one of them physical players. I just look at certain players being able to adapt to different leagues and different styles just by reading a game. If you can read the game, you don't need anything else. You don't need pace. You don't need the full-on muscle strength factor that a lot of midfielders have got. Yeah, you're going to have to be a bit robust in certain tackles, but I'm sorry, look, he'll be able to look after himself. I'm not worried about the physicality of the player. I think we do need someone who can just control a game of football, and this is his style. This is what he does. I don't think Hjulmand is that robust. I think he's good in the tackle on the floor, but physical strength up top, no. I think he's weaker than a lot of players. Look, it depends what you want. Like the athletic up and down player, that could be the type of signing that we want, and still it might not be that. But this is a different style which might work in with that player also if we go out and spend more money next summer. Now, when you look at this, this isn't just a desperate signing for now. If United go in for it, the details are right there in that report. That he's got a release clause which kicks in next year that could then go more if Stuttgart buy out the release clause, which is €2 million, which means he could go up in price. Manchester United right now are looking at this as going, right, okay, we could look at this signing and maybe he comes in next summer as well. This could be something that United are planning. Don't forget, there are transfer plans that run 2 or 3 years in the making. So you could be looking at this and saying, this is the perfect caveat to Carlos Baleba. This could be where Manchester United are going. I mean, what we're looking at here is, for me, I just look at a position here for United as saying that we are now ready to look not just for this transfer window, but next window. I think that's been made clear by the Carlos Baleba saga. So I do believe that United now are realistically looking at Stiller. I don't know if they're going to go all in. I will look at the conditions. But the fact that the agents have met, and obviously I'm guessing the famous intermediaries word from this summer has kicked in here, and that's what the meetings have been. So I can see this happening. I can see it not happening. I think Manchester United are open to all options right now. And like everybody's been reporting, nobody really knows what's going on. There's just people talking that Manchester United are actively looking for another player to come in. I just don't think they're going to jump on it unless they really feel that the player is worth the investment. And like we've said before, fits in and is better than what we've got. Whether Stiller is better than anything that we've got in midfield right now, I'd say he's different to everything we've got in midfield right now. Whether that warrants a place in the starting 11, don't waste the money unless you know that he is going to come in and play. And that, I think, is the main thing. And this is why probably Manchester United are taking their time in looking at other targets right now, because we've not heard anything for over a week now since Carlos Baleba's so-called proposed move to Manchester United was completely kiboshed by the likes of Ornstein and Romano. I think from that moment there hasn't really been anything at all significant. We've not heard anything about Edison. We've not really pushed forward as much with a Gourmet from earlier on this week. I can't see us buying Hjulmand. That has been completely put off as well because of the price of the player. there isn't really anything else. So any name that comes up right now is going to be talked about. Any name that comes up from Manchester United or linked with Manchester United is going to be talked about. And this could be one of them cases. United might not even take it past these initial talks for Stiller. He might not be the player that Ruben Amorim wants. But clearly he is on the list as options. So Manchester United may look at this as a whole package going forward rather than just for now. I think what everybody's going to report here is, it's the Carlos Baleba alternative. It's the player that Manchester United desperately brought in at the end of the window. That isn't the case. These are players that will fit United. And like I said, the futures of Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, Manuel Ugarte, Kobbie Mainoo, Toby Collier, who's not at the club anymore, obviously on loan at West Ham. We're talking about 5 midfielders there whose names are going to be brought up for potential sales next summer for one reason or another. And we've already spoken about them all this window as well in terms of leaving the club. So you have to look at that. And then you're like, there's nobody. So United need to get very busy in the midfield department. So don't think this is desperate. Don't think this is just another option down from Carlos Baleba, and United are trying to keep face by bringing anybody in. If they've got targets right now, they would have been recruited players that are on their list, that have been scouted, that can do a job for Ruben Amorim. And so that's the main point to start from this one, I think, today, is that Manchester United will only, like we've said before, bring in a player that is going to come into this first team that's going to feature for Manchester United. But again, it is for the future as well. They're looking at signings that are going to play long term. Like every other player we've brought in is going to be in this first team, you could say easily, for the next 5 years. And that's in the starting lineup. That hasn't been the case in previous windows. And Manchester United right now, I think we've got the bit between our teeth. We know exactly what we're doing, but obviously there's going to divide opinion with the style and the quality of the players that we're talking about right now. And I think Angelo Stiller is one of them. I do. I said I'm not going to act like I know too much about the player. I'm trusting in this recruitment team now from what they've done so far, with younger players coming in and players that have obviously been brought in this summer. I think right now we're looking at a proper structure kicking into gear here. And it just so happens to be right at the end of this transfer window, and that's going to mix people's opinions up in terms of what we're looking at here. I don't believe that this is a desperate sign if United do push forward with it. But then again, I will not be surprised if United don't go for it either. Okay, into the chat we go. Let's see what everybody's talking about here. We are going to move on to the next story in a moment, which is that weird one with Andre Onana anyway. But and get your opinions in on this. In terms of midfielders, are we that desperate that we just want to bring any midfielder in right now? Or is everybody just on that page where we're looking at players here that have to come in and really have to prove that, or have to be proved that they are first 11 players? There's no point. We've already got squad players starting games for Manchester United right now. There has to be players that come straight in. If they can read the game, they don't need pace. Let's give Kobbie Mainoo a go then instead, as he can read the game okay and doesn't have pace. Well, not really, Jeffers, because he's been caught out of position because that's not his position. Come on, Jeffers, mate. You've got to do better than that if you're going to have a goal, pal, because Kobbie's not an 8. He's a 10, and he reads that position very, very well. Stiller's an 8, 6. He plays there. And that's why Kobbie's not working. It's not his position. This player played there his whole career. So that is the difference, matey. Not on that one. And yes, you don't need to have that much pace if you're playing in a 6. I'm sorry, I've seen it before. There is absolutely class players who play that role, who read the game well. Kobbie does his role well, but he can't fit in this team because there's too many 10s in there. That's the difference. Let's see. And in the meantime, Andre Onana is still our goalkeeper. We're moving on to that, Tim, in a minute. Are we heading into a panic stations and desperation mode now? I don't think so, Dark Muppet. I really don't. We're talking about it, and you could say that this isn't the right type of signing for Manchester United, but I think the whole look of this and the whole point of what we're talking about here is Manchester United really not jumping in, taking their time, making sure that these signings are the right signings for Manchester United, making sure that these players are right. And if we don't get them, I'm just as happy as if we would buy them, as if I would be if we did buy these players in, because I know that the right decision's been made. beforehand, if you've got Murto, Arnold, Woodward, we're looking at buying anybody right now. And everyone will be like, ooh, yes, big signing, shiny lights, Casemiro, Antony, last weeks of the window, here we go, we're back, Manchester United have made a sign. Everyone gets carried away with it, and then 2 years down the line, you're exactly where we are now. Talking about players that were panic bought for well overpriced fees and are on too much money that the club is trying to move on. So if we don't buy anyone, I'm just as happy as if I would be if we didn't, because I know the right decision this time has been made by the football club. And that, I think, and that's the bigger picture in everything that we're talking about right now. Name me one midfielder that's had a good playing relationship with Bruno. Look, Bruno, where do you want to go? I think Marcus Rashford had a good one. Mason Greenwood had a good one. I think Paul Pogba had a good one. But then again, it's different manager, it's different systems. And if the managers that are coming in are not going to put Bruno on the sidelines, then you cannot blame Bruno Fernandes. And let's be honest, Bruno has been willing to run through brick walls for Manchester United. And obviously, Bruno has been moved around by every manager because of that. So in terms of relationships with Bruno, again, let's ease off Bruno Fernandes in blaming him for the things that are going wrong at Manchester United right now. I understand what you're saying, but come on, let's look at the bigger picture here. Why is no manager dropping him? You can't blame Bruno. You've got to blame the managers. I agree that there's games that Bruno does not need to play. There's a different option there for United. But is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? I don't think he is. I really don't. And I've said it. How many times have I said this? Like, Ruben Amorim will die on his Bruno Fernandes sword. He will live or die on it. It'll go one way or it'll go the other. Bruno will come through for United this season. I'm confident he will. But there will be games when everybody's scratching their head thinking, why? Why? Why is he playing? Why is he doing that? It's always going to be there. We have to accept it. But he will win us more games than losing us, Bruno Fernandes, this season. I'll say that for certain. We need two operating two to three operating central midfielders by next summer. Anyway, I see players like this as a squad players or players for the future, i.e. the need for first team. But next summer we will need 3 or 4 central midfielders. This is the point we're making, which leads us into another story we're coming up to in a minute. In fact, I'm going to move on to Andre Onana now because a lot of people have been bringing that up in the chat. It's all right, Carl. I got your typos there. It does it to me as well, but I'll let you off. Right, on to Andre Onana. Now, yesterday, Jamie Jackson from The Guardian was saying that anybody that has approached Manchester United, that has come to Manchester United on the future of Andre Onana or inquired, has been told he is not for sale. And I'm like, scratching my head, I'm like, that's not real. That cannot be real. There's no way that story is genuine. Manchester United would not turn anybody away for any player at this football club if they came and inquired. There is not a chance that Manchester United, if someone's coming for Onana, have told them to go away, he's not for sale. He isn't of that. He isn't of that type. To be honest, where is the story now? Let me just bring it up there. Manchester United have told clubs who have inquired about Andre Onana he isn't going anywhere. Onana is aware of that. That's from Jamie Jackson and Sean Conley. I cannot honestly believe that story. I don't believe that story. I really don't. And you listen to what Laurie Whitwell has said about Andre Onana on the Talk of the Devils podcast. He's saying it depends on who you speak to. Again, that says it in the opening sentence, doesn't it? It's whose opinions you want to believe in, really, from Manchester United, because it's been a weird one all summer. It depends who you speak to if United will actually sign a goalkeeper. If they're going to sign a goalkeeper for money, it depends on Andre Onana leaving. And it's an interesting thing. I want to get into that at some point accurately, because there's too many different little stories going around about Onana at the moment. If Amorim wanted him to play, he could have played. But there's elements in that's interesting and we could investigate. There are some people at United that think they need to get a new goalkeeper. That's quite obvious, to be honest. Who do you believe? Like, from what Laurie Whitwell has said, Manchester United, if an offer came in, would sell him. Ornstein said the same. If Andre Onana leaves United, we'll go and buy another goalkeeper. And you've got Jamie Jackson and Sean Conley talking about Manchester United telling everybody that Andre Onana isn't for sale. No, Andre Onana is for sale. every single player in this squad, barring the obvious players, is for sale. This was made very, very clear at the start of the summer. And so the stories and the contrasting stories around Andre Onana, and they're interesting. And you wonder, don't you, where these reports of bleeding come from? Because they cannot be genuine. There's no way that if Manchester United got a sensible offer for Onana with the money that he's on and the howlers that he has had in games for Manchester United, that they would not be interested in him. He, like every other outfield player, I don't know what it is with goalkeepers or why they feel they're untouchable and they are number one. Maybe it's the fact that they call him the number one player for some reason. Andre Onana has this air of confidence about him where he thinks he can walk on water and not be touched. And everybody around at Manchester United feels the same. That's just how it comes across. I don't understand the protection barrier around Andre Onana. He is one of the worst goalkeepers that this club has ever had. And I'll say that openly every single day. There's nothing that this man is going to do that is going to convince me that he's the future of this football club. And in every other area of the pitch and every other position in our team, it has been scrutinised to high heaven, and every single player is suffering because of it. You've got Bruno Fernandes getting daggers from the fans that he shouldn't be in the side. This is one man that has actually turned up for Manchester United season in, season out. Rasmus Højlund, I don't like the guy, but my God, why is he being absolutely slaughtered when Andre Onana gets away with murder, basically, on the pitch with the mistakes? Honestly, Rasmus Højlund does a better job in his position than Andre Onana does in his. So why is Onana getting away with it? I don't, and I will never understand United's position on Andre Onana. There is no way that Manchester United renew this player's contract. And if you are a goalkeeper of this age or any player of a certain age and there is no contract renewal coming, then you are not the future of the football club. So yes, of course, if anybody comes in and makes an offer for that player, then they are going to be open to it and will listen to it. I think the story is complete BS. I really don't believe it. And I love Jamie, and I've had him on this show and I talked to him quite a bit. I don't believe that. I don't believe his sources are correct on that. I believe more what Laurie Whitwell says, in that it depends who you speak to at Manchester United, because they haven't given anything away. And it has been this weird sort of like vibe around Onana this summer. Like nobody can put their finger on what's actually going to happen. Like no one can actually say for certain whether or not United are open to selling Onana or if there has been any offers at all. Even when you talk about people coming in for him, it never seems to be genuine or something you can really believe in. And that, I think, is the weird thing around it all. And that's the bit that I just don't get. If he's in goal this season, Manchester United are going to be weaker. And every single Manchester United fan knows this. They know that he isn't good enough for Manchester United. And it's like anybody says to me, it's like anybody coming in right now other than him is going to make Manchester United stronger. And you know what? In a way, that probably is why people are probably desperately looking at all sorts of goalkeepers right now. I am not in the believer of that. I'm not a believer of that. I think that this is why Manchester United are not going in for another goalkeeper right now, because they cannot get the right goalkeeper at the moment. Like I know all of the talk regarding Seny Lammens. I just don't believe that Manchester United are going to do it. I don't. Otherwise, it would have been done. He's a cheap goalkeeper. He's a young goalkeeper. He fits everything that Ineos's management model and recruitment model wants, and he's still not here. It just doesn't add up for me. I think they want a standout goalkeeper. I believe in the stories of Gianluigi Donnarumma and Emi Martinez. I do. I believe that there is something in them stories. I just don't believe Manchester United are going to do it. I don't. I think they want to, but they can't. That's how I feel about them stories. In terms of Donnarumma, like Laurie Whitwell said, I think everybody's on the same page with this one. Donnarumma is a big one that people keep asking about. His wages are just, his demands are huge. I don't see how Manchester United go for that. There are people saying to me that they can see him going to Manchester City still. Lammens, Costa, I think they've got a list of goalkeeper options that they are watching and discussing whether to pursue or not. The unknown, like the Athletic, don't even know what Manchester United are doing with the goalkeeping side of things. And Laurie Whitwell was the one that had the inside scoop when Andre Onana was being bought by Manchester United. He was the one that called it before everybody else. And that, I think he would know if anything was happening. I honestly just don't believe anything is. And that's the massive concern for me as a United fan. Going into Old Trafford, watching Manchester United this season, I'm always going to be nervous because of the goalkeeper situation. That, I feel, is the same for a lot of Manchester United fans. So, no Donnarumma. I just don't see it happening because of reasons that Laurie said there. And if Andre Onana is still at the football club, you're never going to get any of the bigger goalkeepers in. You're not. It's just not going to happen. And I think this has brought the talk of Senny Lamens more because they know that Andre Onana isn't leaving. And Manchester United are probably going to make one of the biggest mistakes that they've made in the transfer window when it has been really positive. I think this could outweigh everything that we've done. It is that bad. You've seen it in action in one game. A dominant performance by Manchester United, completely undone by a goalkeeping error. Every single season this is going to be the same while these goalkeepers are here. Do you have to accept that and try and work around it? Ruben is trying to score more goals by bringing in the players that are going to give us more goals and be more competitive. I get it. But there's a simple way around making you even stronger, and that's getting another goalkeeper in. And if Andre Onana is still there, maybe take the sacrifice in paying more money. I would be telling Andre Onana and Bayende to find new clubs. I would be doing to them what the club is doing to Rasmus Højlund. And that I just don't get. Like, why Rasmus is being treated the way he is and why Andre Onana and Bayende are getting away with it. That's something that I don't. I think there is things going on behind the scenes with this. There has to be. But the powers that be, they're not going to make a decision on Andre Onana. He's going to be in goal for United this season. I can see it now, and it's worrying me. It really is. How many years has Onana been here for? Surely he violates the make your mark in 2 years or more on that policy. 2 years in, 2 years left, Andre Onana. I think I've mentioned it a few times over this window, actually, that I could just see Andre Onana leaving Manchester United next summer. I think one more year gone, pretty much paid for then, and then Manchester United release him, sell him cheap, whatever they've got to do. I think that's what will happen. But this summer, unfortunately for Manchester United fans, we are going to be stuck with Andre Onana. It does feel that way now. And all of the noises are telling us that that is what is going to happen. Cheers for all the likes already, everybody. Let's get them in. If you're loving the content, please pop a like on the video. And, of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. We're closing in on the 98k. Don't forget, on 98k, we are going to be doing a shirt giveaway with OK jerseys. So make sure that you are part of that as well, everybody. Of course, we have got, like I said at the top of the show, a very, very busy weekend of football action, which starts tonight. We're going to be leading across from the evening show here on FUTV tonight into the watch-along on Football Talks. We're going to be doing more watch-alongs through Premier League football with other teams on Football Talks, and, of course, Manchester United here on Forever United TV. As well. So a busy weekend. We've got 3 watch-alongs throughout this weekend's fixtures, so I'll keep you posted on all of them. Look, the first one is tonight. Double show tonight. FUTV right into Football Talks. So make sure that you're there, everybody, and get involved. That is our other channel that we run as well. Okay, into the other news. We've got plenty to get through this morning as well. Let's talk about the outgoing side of things, shall we, and where we're actually at. Let's just go through Garnacho's situation first of all, and what Romano said exactly the same thing that he's been saying for the last 3 weeks now. I think Romano's actually glad that the transfer window's ending in just over a week, because this one I think has definitely tripped him up, because the advance talks from nearly 2 weeks ago are just not gone any further. I think he's just now saying, look, it's going to happen soon. It has to happen soon because there's only 1 week left in the window. The expectation has always been for Garnacho to Chelsea at the very end. Now he says it. And we are almost there. For Garnacho, the plan remains confirmed. For him to go to Chelsea, for Garnacho, the deal is happening. As far as he is concerned, he is going to Chelsea. There is a story on Team Talk this morning about Manchester United hoping that Tottenham come in for Garnacho to try and build some form of potential bidding war, I'm guessing. But look, Garnacho's been waiting for Chelsea for the whole summer. I don't see him moving away from Chelsea now at this point. I don't even think that being a first-team player guaranteed at Spurs is going to convince him that that's the right way to go. Spurs, I think, are a car crash in this transfer window. They are all over the place. That point been proven over the last few weeks. and particularly this week with Fabrizio. I just don't think Garnacho would ever move to Spurs. He's got his heart set on Chelsea, and like Romano said, the only reason this is going to happen soon is because the window ends next week. So, yeah, that's it. There's nothing changed. There's nothing come through of significance at all. All it's going to be is the window ends and something has to happen. Finally, like, it's been 3 months of Garnacho. What's he doing? And we're in the last week of it now. That's all it is. That's the only update from Fabrizio Romano there. Anything else he says, I don't think anybody's going to believe right now, apart from we all know already that the window is closing and Chelsea have to make a decision on him. It looks like there's movement coming with Nkunku and Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea, so that obviously could trigger it. And obviously Chelsea have to play under them new UEFA rules, which they've been sanctioned under. PSR, they're fine, but UEFA's financial fair play rules, they have come a cropper under, so they're having to be very careful. And anyone asking why Chelsea, with their financial position, cannot just go out and buy Garnacho, it's because they are obviously being looked at by UEFA, and they have been punished already and fined this season, this summer. So they have to fall under them rules, so they have to sell somebody to bring Garnacho in. And I think this is what Romano is waiting for here. But the football financial experts who know the ins and outs of how it works are all saying the same thing. Chelsea and Aston Villa, the reason they're not buying players is because they've been stung by UEFA and have to come under these new rules. So they do need to sell players, which is why you're hearing different stories about different players from both of them clubs leaving. And I think it's going to be again, mad last week. But Garnacho is going Chelsea. That's the only club he's going to end up at. There have been different clubs that have looked at Garnacho. There's been several offers, like we said before. Bayern Munich was turned down. He doesn't want to move to the Saudi Pro League, doesn't want to move to Italy. He wants the Premier League, he wants Chelsea. He wants to make his mark here and prove a point to Manchester United. I do believe that is the reasoning behind Garnacho holding out for Chelsea. I think he wants to make a point because in his eyes, he feels like he's been poorly treated by the football club. And yes, I know, not a lot of us do feel that way. We think it's the opposite, but in the player's mind, from his side, I fully believe that this is why he is actually holding out. That was Garnacho. When it then comes to Jadon Sancho and this again, we touched on this yesterday in terms of where Sancho is at with his agent wanting a certain amount of money to make this move happen. The report from Italy at the moment is Roma's hopes of signing Jadon Sancho rest on whether the agent reduces the 8.6 million commission that he wants for the deal to happen. So we heard yesterday that the deal is very, very close in terms of agreement between Sancho and Roma. Like, they are confident that they can get Jadon Sancho's package together now. But commission-wise from his agent is astronomical. He actually wants more than Jadon Sancho's annual salary out of this deal. So that's the stumbling block. And yesterday there was reports coming out that Roma are obviously asking Manchester United to enter into this severance pay to counteract that, so they could not pay as much. So if United come in with any form of severance pay, as in like Jadon's last year of his contract, maybe cutting a little bit of that into the agent's fees and whatnot, us to bring the cost down for Roma, because there is an agreement in place with United and Roma already for the price and the transfer fee. It's just that Jadon Sancho's wages have cost them so much they cannot afford to pay the fees on top for the agent as well, and they're hoping United can counter that in some way to make this happen. So this is where complications happen, this is where negotiations drag on, and this is why transfers take so long, because it's not just a straightforward, yeah, you're on that contract and that's the transfer fee. You've got the instalments, how much the first instalment is, the add-ons, you've got the agent's fees, you've got the structuring of all of that, and it is insanely complicated. You're just seen with Angelo Stiller that Stuttgart can buy out the release clause in that contract after a certain date. Triggers, dates, fees, everything that has to be discussed. It takes a lot of time. I remember doing a video here talking about Ornstein going into this and how well Manchester United have done with the deals that they've got done this summer. On top of that, like how much it takes to get one transfer over the line. It's a lot of work. And when you've got Manchester United players on the wages that they're on, expect that to be doubled in terms of negotiations with any any suitor or anyone wanting to come in and buy that player, because it is very, very complicated. And when you've got agencies like this, like Jadon Sancho's, and the way that Jadon Sancho's whole career has been, this was always going to be a real complication for Manchester United. This is a player that hasn't been bothered about playing football all summer, that just wants to move for his wages and his money, and that is being driven by his agency. That, again, is a sad state of football, and I've said this on several shows now on both channels, that the agents really this summer, and you look at everything that's going on in this transfer window, from Gyökeres to Wissa to Isak to Sancho to Garnacho, look at these players and what's going on. None of them playing football because of discussions and discrepancies within contracts and fallout within the clubs that they're at. It's turning into a farce, the way that these agents are getting involved and causing problems at football clubs at the moment. So this is why Jadon Sancho, why Garnacho, all of these deals have just dragged on. And this is why Ruben Amorim made a point of cutting off that squad and not allowing them back into Manchester United, because he knew that this was going to happen probably. He knew from talks with the club that these players were just going to dig their heels in and make a scene. Well, not make a scene, but cause a problem for Manchester United. Quickly on the situation with Antony, again, just a tiny little update on this. Report from Spain is saying that Real Betis' hopes of re-signing Antony have been boosted after the Brazilian informed Manchester United he is prepared to wait until the final day of the transfer window to seal a return to the club. Sit on the sidelines. Sorry, mate. See you later, Antony. Praised you last season for going away and finding a club, and the fact that you have literally you've held up the whole summer for Manchester United because you want to go to Betis, who are not committed to you. Honestly, we'll never understand it again. Like, this is a club that has bought players around Antony but are not committed to buying Antony. They want him on loan, and that's with no guarantee of signing the player. So why would you want to move there if the club are not committed to buying you or showing that? It just baffles me. What is going through these players' heads? Honestly, it is a weird one, but we knew this. Antony, end of the window. Garnacho, end of the window. Sancho, end of the window. Problems at Manchester United. Honestly, this is why United are always going to struggle. Until we get rid of these next two windows and all of this sort of bomb squad, horrible, big contract players that were brought under poor recruitment and management of Manchester United, until they're all gone, we're never going to have a normal transfer window like other clubs that you can see, like Arsenal's, like Chelsea's, City's, Liverpool's. All of them sort of clubs are in the perfect position because they've got players that they want. And if anybody comes in for them players, they go for big money. Very big money. United, until these two windows are over with, this one and next summer's, I just don't think we're going to settle into any sort of rhythm. It is, like, you look at it there, I just mentioned 3 players that are worth a fortune to Manchester United to go and reinvest money into the squad for Ruben, holding out until deadline day because of their needs and what they want. It's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? It really is. Let's get into the comments section. Get your thoughts in, everybody. Let me know what you're thinking. Antony and Betis have been ridiculously unprofessional. F them. United should have given both of them a date to do the deal, or it was not happening. If we all knew both sides were waiting it out. Yeah, sad, innit? It really is. The goalkeeper spin is only because we need the keepers to perform in the next 2 games. In the next 2 games. Yeah, but the next 2 games, then it's deadline day, and then transfer window shuts. So, realistically, mate, it's too late at that point. Let's see what we got in here. There's quite a few comments in on this one there. When you let the football world know that the manager of Manchester United told him to do one, unfortunately, all the power is with the buying club. Bad management, in my opinion. Not bad management. Leaks from Manchester United, Gary. That's what it is. United have done things here. Ruben has done things that every other manager and every other club would have done. But because it's Manchester United and you've got petulant clowns playing for us, their agents, the players, they've all leaked the news out and let everybody know. And they are hitting back at Manchester United. In-club matters at Manchester United being all over the news is because of the leaks from these agents and players. I'm convinced of it. My opinion alone, obviously, on that one, but I can't see it being anybody else. Like, Manchester United has rinsed this club of every single staff member apart from the players. That's the only one left, and the leaks still came out. That, I think, is how you look at it. And that's convinced me that it is the likes of Garnacho, his management, that has leaked this. You've seen how petulant he is and how he's operated on social media. I do believe that that is the case. I think Ruben wouldn't have released that. Ruben would have never gone anywhere near that and put that and made that public. So that, for me, I just think is the problem that we have got at this football club. And like I said, until these transfer windows have passed and you get rid of these sorts of characters and players and get them out of the football club, then we're always going to have that issue. I just hope that next week does bring the solution for Manchester United and we do end up getting rid of them. And then we can just move forward. And this time next summer, Manchester United are going to be in a completely different world when it comes to the transfer window. So hopefully we do get all of these deals done. There's a lot of work to do, isn't there? More talks on Rasmus Højlund as well. Talks are continuing for Napoli to sign Rasmus Højlund. They are considering changing the formula of the deal and including an obligation to buy in order to secure the striker right now. That is significant and important that Napoli are actually looking into that. That's come from Damasio from over in Italy right now. We know that Napoli are trying to convince Rasmus to sign for them with European football, Champions League football, fighting for a title. Obviously, he's going to the champions. It is actually a good move for Rasmus Højlund. This an opportunity has come about because of Lukaku, and all we know is that Rasmus Højlund wants it to be permanent. He needs to see commitment. This is how I thought Antony should have approached his transfer. You've got Betis who don't want to pay for him, who don't want to pay his wages, who don't want to commit to him in any way, shape or form past one season. And then you've got Rasmus Højlund, who is demanding commitment, who wants the team who's buying him to actually put something on paper that says to him that they want him at the football club past next season alone. This is how Antony should be conducting business. And credit to Rasmus Højlund and the way that he's conducted himself through this transfer window. And at this stage as well, with everything else going on, he's embarrassing the likes of Garnacho, Sancho and Antony at this moment. So, again, big praise to Rasmus Højlund in wanting to find commitment from a football club. This is actually quite sensible, whereas the others are just ridiculous and absolutely... Again, like, you know how I feel about them. It just really, really angers me in how they could actually look at this and think that these clubs are actually the right moves for them. Sancho's slightly different because Roma are putting everything down for Sancho. But Garnacho moving to Chelsea is the wrong move. Antony moving to Betis is the wrong move. He can do better. And they're not willing to commit to him. If Napoli do put this down into a obligation, this deal is done. United will sign it off and Rasmus will move to Napoli, and that is a big one for United. It is. I don't know if obviously if you've got an obligation, then that money's coming in next summer and United could reinvest that money in. That's obviously key for Manchester United as well because like we said before with the midfielder plans, we are going to need to spend quite a bit of money on that midfield next summer, and any money coming in, the likes of Rasmus Højlund, a transfer fee, if it's just 30 million, that's still a lot for United in that moment. Then you got the Marcus Rashford fee. Hopefully that'll add that up to 50 million. And then hopefully we do manage to get rid of Antony, Sancho and Garnacho. I think Garnacho will be money in the bank. Sancho is probably going to be an obligation loan, and so too will Antony. I think that's how United are going to end up working it. And whatever happens with Tyrell Malacia right now, I've got no idea. I think he'll end up going to Saudi or Turkey after the transfer window closes. I said it before though as well, don't forget that obviously Jadon Sancho, if he doesn't sign on deadline day, has still got the option of Saudi and Turkey, and we know that they're willing to pay his wages. So let's see if Roma do manage to get this deal over the line with Manchester United. Otherwise, Sancho, like Romano has said, the relationship with the football club is completely broken. He is never going to play for Manchester United ever again. So a solution has to be found within the next week. Otherwise, it's Turkey or Saudi for Jadon Sancho. So, yeah, there is a lot to happen over these coming days now. It's going to be a very exciting weekend with all the football. And then next week, it's going to be bleeding mental. It is, isn't it? Over 500 likes. Thank you, everybody. Keep them likes coming in. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you for all support as always. I can see loads of comments coming in. Let's just see. Sorry, Adam. In my opinion, it was bad management to do it in front of the entire squad. So what was he expecting? It not to get in the press? No, I'm not. Your opinion's fine, Gary. But this happens to every single club. I know it. It happens at every single club. It's just that it's leaked at Manchester United. I don't think it was bad management, mate. I know what you're saying. I get why you're saying it, but I just don't think it was bad management. I think these players have needed this, and I think every single squad member needs to see that it doesn't matter how big you are, what awards you are, what future you might have at this football club, that nobody's bigger than Manchester United. It's short-term pain for long-term gain, and they've made a decision to go in and make sure that these players know that there is nobody bigger than Manchester United, and we are going to suffer because of it, like we are doing now. But I think over 2 transfer windows, this will pass, and Manchester United can then move on to that next stage. And hopefully that will bring a little bit of calm and normality back to Manchester United transfer windows. Angry Beaver, thank you for that gifted membership. Philip says, deadline day will come and go on a whim with incomings. It will only be outgoings on deadline day. We will see. We will see. There isn't enough to convince anybody right now that there's anybody coming in. We talked about ANGELO still off. We talked about Agome possibly coming in. Donnarumma isn't happening. There is a lot of talk and worry and concern around Kobbie Mainoo still. And this conversation I have seen is popping up everywhere right now on different podcasts and different fan groups. Garnacho is a worry. And Laurie Whitwell has actually been talking about Kobbie Mainoo as well. And again, like different podcasts coming up, this conversation is always going to be there because Kobbie is surplus to requirements, it would seem, in this system. He is going to come in and feature, and I do believe Ruben is going to try and turn Kobbie into that midfielder. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's what he's going to it's going to be best for his future. I don't think he fits it at all, personally. I just don't think that he is that type of player. I think he is an attacking player. I do. This is what Laurie said on it, though. Since January, it's been reported that Manchester United might not openly, if clubs came in with an offer for Garnacho and Mainoo, they might reluctantly sell. It's been a consistent thing throughout the summer on Mainoo's position. Uncertainty about where he goes at United. Does that lead to an exit? I was told pretty confidently that he would not be leaving, although I do think there's been some inquiries or questions about him being at the club beyond this window. It's only come about because he hasn't started against Arsenal. He isn't a starter when everybody's fit, and he's got this contract hovering over him. Now, United are going to stand firm on the contract. They're not going to buckle to Kobbie Mainoo's agent's demands. It's not going to happen. It's definitely in a position right now, I feel, where Kobbie Mainoo feels like with what everyone else is on. And there's parts of this that I agree with him with. The fact that Baindir and Tom Heaton are on more money than him is a disgrace. Yeah, but that's just the way contracts come about from academy player coming through. So he should be on more money than them. And even at this stage, I would say Kobbie Mainoo should be on more money than them players. But the fact that Kobbie Mainoo wants like 60 grand more than both Lenny Yoro and Amad Diallo right now, that's where it sort of falls down. And we've always said this. We've had this debate several times on the show. Kobbie Mainoo does not warrant 180 grand a week wages. He doesn't warrant 150 grand a week wages. If he wants to come in at around about, let's say, 100 grand where the other players are at right now, 100 to 120, then I think the deal gets done. But I don't think United are going to go anywhere near that price that his agent wants. And I think this is why the talk is happening, because he's also not playing. So you've got bad noises from behind the scenes about a deal not being done, which has been dragging on now for ages. And you've got the noises on the pitch. This leads to conversations and debates and people speculating over his future. I believe Manchester United will actually get and want to get the contract done for Kobbie. I think they want him to stay. And I think most Man United fans want him to stay as well. But there is a realistic look on Kobbie Mainoo right now that everybody is talking about, which is they don't know where he fits. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if someone came in with a big bid for Kobbie Mainoo, I think Manchester United would be tempted to moving him on. I really do think that situation would come about. But look, we'll see what happens coming into these, into maybe January, these next months. I'd expect something to have been clarified with his contract by then. Otherwise, you're going to get the January window kicking in. Cobby's not going to leave this window. Definitely not. I think January, the conversation comes about. If Cobby hasn't had much game time leading up to the January transfer window, I think there is more noises coming, and there is a chance that Cobby ends up on his way out of Manchester United. You can see it happening, can't you? I think that is what is coming. Don't forget, everybody, we'll pop a link in the live chat for Football Talks. We are doing a live watch along tonight. We'll let you know later on here on Forever United TV when everything is starting as well. But yeah, please do go subscribe to Football Talks as well, our other channel. We're going to be a lot more content throughout the season on there as well. So yes, that's going to be kickstarting a very, very busy weekend for us this weekend. Lots and lots of football going on throughout, starting tonight. It's going to be, I think, an interesting one. The games are really good this weekend. There's some real good games this weekend. So I think everybody's looking to that Newcastle and Liverpool one, especially with the Isak situation going on right now. But yeah, that pretty much sums everything up, everybody. A few comments just flying in at the end there. Let's just get through a few of them. Mainu isn't going anywhere. He fits the midfield. They wouldn't be developing him specifically for that role. Who makes up this stuff? No, mate. Mane, there is a real chance that Cobby leaves, mate. There is, because if Ruben's there, he isn't going to play enough game time, I don't think. And you're ignoring the contract situation. They're not going to give it to him, mate. You have to be real. I understand what you're saying, but you have to be real with it. Cobby fits on the bench currently, and that's not a bad thing. The fact that players of Cobby's level are on the bench means we are improving. It does look good on that, but it doesn't look good for Cobby wanting 180 grand a week sat on the bench. That's not going to happen under Ineos. Look, I want him to stay like everybody else does. I do, but I have to be real at the same time as well. And it concerns me at the moment with Cobby, just how he fits in. I hope we don't end up with Ghana Mark II if Chelsea comes in for Mainu. I hope he plays so his price actually goes up. I do. Cheers for the super chat, Glenn. That finishes our show, everybody. Please pop a like on the video before we leave. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, everyone. I'll be updating you with all of the news that comes out later on today. Thank you, everybody, again for all of your comments. Great conversation in the live chat there. Big updates and big improvements coming on the channel as well in the future. I'll keep you posted on all of that. Things are moving very quickly. But the window is nearly over. Just over a week to go. Busy weekend this weekend as well, everyone.